Hey there guys, and welcome back to Alex Invests. For those of you who don't know, I'm Alex. I'm a business owner with a degree in economics, and I've been investing since I was 18 years old. Today, the markets are red, as we can see, and we can also see I've got a bit of a new setup here, so let me know what you guys think about that. Anyways, back at looking at the markets, there's a couple interesting things this morning to point out. First of all, EV stocks, hydrogen stocks, both down this morning, right? And it makes sense. We can see it. We saw it start on Friday already, after that huge run that we've had in the past few weeks in the EV industry, in the hydrogen industry, just pumping and pumping. So of course we see a bit of pullback today finally, and a little bit on Friday, but barely, right? But we also already see a bit of recovery there. Two stocks in particular I wanted to mention is F-Cell, first of all, positive today again, while most others are negative. And the other one is Very Good Foods, now not in the hydrogen industry or the EV industry, but what's interesting to note is they're up another 23% this morning. So just killing it. And I said this was going to happen. I said we're going to see a bit of consolidation and then another big rise, and that's exactly what we're seeing. So it's good to see, and that's why it's always good to diversify. If you only have EV stocks now, your portfolio probably isn't doing as well as it could be doing today if you have a bit of that diversification in your portfolio. Anyways, today I want to talk to you guys about Bloom Energy, because this is another one that I have in my portfolio and I haven't mentioned it at all to you guys yet, just like my video on Tesla yesterday. So we're going to go through Bloom, see the chart, and then sort of see where I see the stock going in the next couple of months to years. But before we get into it, as always, please like and subscribe. It really does help out the channel, and it helps me create more content for you guys. All right, so let's just talk about what Bloom Energy does here for a minute. They create power cells and basically make microgrids for a backup power generation. So let's say that an outage happens and you don't have power. You would basically use your microgrid or fuel cell station kind of power source to then power whatever you need to power. So what's interesting about that is just the starting point for Bloom here. Right now they're providing plenty of backup power, but where they're really going is providing core power on a grid, not just backup power. And the reason I see them going here and getting here is because costs are coming down more and more. Their backup power grids are already cost effective compared to many other solutions. And we can see here when comparing 2019 and 2020 data, it's clear that in 2020 cost of revenue is going down, and we see the same thing when we look at the loss from operations. We see throughout the 3 quarters here, it continually decreasing, and I think we're going to continue to see that moving forward into the future. And I've mentioned this part before, as oil prices increase, we basically see hydrogen and other clean energy alternatives become more attractive in the industry as a whole. And again, we're seeing that right now, and that's part of the reason we had that run after the vaccine news, which is also what I've mentioned before, because we just see oil prices start to come up, demand starts to come up again, and all of a sudden hydrogen demand is increased way more. So obviously I'm really excited about this industry. I'm in quite a few of these different stocks in hydrogen, as you guys know, but there's one reason in particular that I like Bloom Energy so much as well. Well, obviously with fuel cell as well, and Ballard Power. But the differentiation that we see with Bloom is interesting. They have their solid oxide fuel cell. Now, according to the company, the cells can use hydrogen as a fuel to generate electricity or work in reverse and be an electrolyzer, which basically is a mechanism which creates hydrogen. So they can produce hydrogen going one way and generate electricity with the hydrogen going the other way. And what's so interesting about this is the wide applications that it's for, you know. Bloom is already working with Samsung Heavy Industries to produce a hydrogen-powered ship. So that should be very interesting. And I mean, they're already in so many different industries and so many different places around the world as well, you know. They are in South Korea and the US, obviously. I believe they have some grids in Canada as well. Alright, so before we get into the chart, I just wanted to show you guys this. This is basically where they're trying to go here, you know. They have everything on the grid, so they use wind and solar, which powers homes, and also excess renewables at peak production times go into this electrolyzer, right, which then makes hydrogen, puts the excess into a storage tank, right, and that goes into the Bloom Energy servers, which then is able to power other buildings and other things like that. But what's so interesting here is you can store all of that energy for whenever you need it. You don't need to take it right away, right? And this electrolyzer right here, this is what is going to be in their new solid oxide fuel cell, with obviously the other fuel cell component to be able to use that hydrogen as energy, right? So that is sort of a summation of where they're headed and where their solid oxide cell is headed. But I really do think Bloom is one of those safer bets to invest in because of just its already massive infrastructure and this new solid oxide fuel cell. And because they already have a decent amount of revenues, and their forward-looking revenues are going to increase a lot into the future from what I've read. So this is one of those companies that's established and really ready to hit the market hard. And I do see the same thing for a few of the other companies that I've mentioned before, but I think Bloom is going to do it on a much bigger scale, at least from within the next year to 2 years. Alright guys, so now I just wanted to show you the chart here. So there's a couple interesting things to mention. First of all, when did I get into this stock, right? So we can see this is basically the yearly chart from 2020 onwards. I bought right around in April, late April, early May here, somewhere around this point here at the $8.2 mark is where I ended up picking up the stock. And obviously it's been running up since then. But the interesting thing here is we can see we have these kind of big jumps and then back down, and then it's definitely a rocky ride coming up and down here, right? And so I see a similar thing happening again here with Bloom, you know. We're at the high point in the trend lines between the channel, you know, and we even went above it compared to the trend line that I drew, you know. So yes, I do see it coming back down. I mean, we can see these huge jumps up and down in this channel, right? So we could see this go all the way back down to here. Do I see that happening? Not completely, no, but I do maybe see it coming down to around the $21 mark, maybe the $20 mark. We'll have to see. But again, it's just this big run up again associated with those the vaccine calls and the oil prices going up again as well, you know, and all these hydrogen energy stocks getting so much attention, right? So I wouldn't pick up any shares here, but if we see it come back down, you know, to $20, $21, even lower, I could see in some points, then it's definitely worth picking up this stock. It's also interesting to note the insane amount of volume that we've been trading here throughout, you know, all of 2020 really, but especially recently here since sort of the 20th around of September, and I can see that quite easily because of all the news surrounding all these stocks right now, right? So obviously we're going to see high volume and continued volatility here and big spikes and big movements. But if you're looking to get into this for the long term, I'm in this for the long term. I'm not selling any of my shares, right? But obviously, I do see the stock coming down from this channel. I mean, what did we see the last time here, or the time before even, you know? We saw huge gains all the way to the top of the channel, and then we came down about halfway, and then huge gains all the way to the top of the channel, and then all the way to the bottom of the channel. So here I could see a similar thing, but again, I see it more at the halfway mark, at around the $20 mark. I think would be a great price to buy into this stock, guys. Alright guys, so that's going to do it for the video today. I hope you liked it. If you did, please like, subscribe, leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about the new background and if you like it, or if I should go back to the old one. Anyways, other than that, I hope you guys have a fantastic day, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.